The Eid celebration continues today, and we hope you're making the very best out of it. Welcome to Breakfast Central, reaching you live from News Central Studio in Lagos, Nigeria. But before I say my name, I would like to say a very happy birthday to my co-anchor Olisa Chukwuma. But I am Oluchi Enobong. Happy birthday!
Thank you, Oluchi. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Good morning, Africa. Welcome to Breakfast Central. My name is Olisa Chukwuma, and it's a delight to have you on the show today to take you through the top stories from around the African continent and beyond. But let's begin with a look at our headlines for today, July 21st, 2021. All about Sunday Igboho and extradition talks continue to Nigeria.
And we'll be going to South Africa, where election postponement is making the wave.
Also, going to Zimbabwe calls on citizens in diaspora to register to vote. We'll tell you how.
And in the world of entertainment, 2 Ghanaians nominated for Emmy Awards.
Plus, in the world of sports, that man there, he's got Greek blood, but very Nigerian too. Milwaukee Bucks win first title in 50 years thanks to Giannis.
Kuna kallon News Central TV.
You're watching Breakfast Central, and let's begin with stories in South Africa. Now, between 2020 and 2021, at least 14 countries in the continent have postponed their elections due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, the latest country to potentially join that fold is South Africa. Now, yesterday, the country's Independent Electoral Commission received a recommendation that the local government elections there that are scheduled to hold for October this year should be postponed.
Now, the recommendation came from an inquiry that was held by the retired Chief Justice Musinike. Joining us this morning is Terry Seleni, the Executive Chairman of the Institute of Electoral Management Services in Africa. Good morning, Mr. Seleni.
Good morning to you and to your viewers.
Mr. Seleni, now the former Chief Justice recommendation to postpone the election is what a lot of people are talking about in South Africa. What do you make of this recommendation? Do you think it's a fair decision in the circumstances?
I think it is fair. In fact, I would have been surprised if Justice Musinike had not actually recommended that the elections be postponed. Largely because, as you may be aware, that the pandemic in South Africa has really wreaked havoc. We have had so many people dying of this pandemic, and the infection rate is going higher and higher each day. Now, this has been compounded by the fact that the president has also imposed restrictions on society. The citizens have been confined to their homes, and also political parties are unable to exercise their political rights as a result of this. Now, these are some of the factors that really made it almost difficult to deliver the elections that are free and fair under the circumstances.
All right, Mr. Seleni, what implication does a postponement of this nature have for South Africa? And does it say anything about the state of electoral democracy in the country?
Not at all. I think, the fact that the Electoral Commission has decided to go this route, and so many political parties and so many civil society organizations participated in this inquiry, it's testimony to the fact that democracy in South Africa is alive, and that the whole society has actually been involved in this decision of whether to postpone the elections or not. Ordinarily, in certain circumstances, the commission would have recommended the postponement without involving the society. But because we are a democratic society, the commission had to get an independent, retired a former Deputy Chief Justice of the country, to head up the inquiry. And then he involved quite a number of experts, civil society organizers, political parties in arriving at the recommendation that he has arrived at.
Right. Now, Mr. Seleni, the election was supposed to take place October 27th of this very year, 2021. But now that the recommendation has been made, what is the process that follows from here? I mean, is it correct to even say that the Independent Electoral Commission doesn't have to accept the recommendation in any way?
Well, it is unfathomable that the Electoral Commission would institute an inquiry and not really carry out its recommendations. But I think it is important also for me to emphasize this, that the Electoral Commission in South Africa does not set the date of the elections, and therefore does not have a constitutional capacity, or it's not competent to postpone the elections. The person who is responsible for setting the date for the election, for the municipal elections in South Africa, is the Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, Dr. Nkosazana Zuma. Now, it means she is the only person who can postpone the elections because she's got the constitutional powers and legal authority to postpone or to set an election and then also to postpone them. So what the Commission nevertheless has is a constitutional mandate to ensure that the elections are free and fair. Now that they instituted this report basically has empowered the Commission to approach the Minister and say to the Minister that they, as the Electoral Commission, are unable to ensure free and fair elections as per their obligation in the Constitution, and that they are recommending to the Minister that the elections be postponed. Now, the Minister will then take that information, go to the Constitutional Court, obviously with the support of the Commission, and motivate to the Constitutional Court for the postponement of the elections to the date that has been recommended, if she agrees with that date that has been recommended, which is February 2022.
All right, not so far, you have to say, but going into the next year. But Mr. Selani, before we let you go, South Africa is not the first country on the continent to postpone elections. The others have continued despite COVID-19. I wonder what you make of those, especially looking at your organization and the observations you've seen from the Institute.
Well, the majority of the countries that held elections in the continent and elsewhere, they did not have the kind of the situation that we have in South Africa, where there are restrictions that have been imposed by the president. Political parties in those countries were able to canvass for support. They were able to have rallies and then use their traditional methods of campaigning. But in South Africa, as a way of trying to deal with this pandemic, the president has imposed restrictions on the country. And then these tight restrictions include citizens being confined to their homes and political parties and political gatherings being banned. Now, when this happens, it means that it becomes difficult for citizens as well as for political parties to exercise their rights. So the situation is slightly different from what we have actually seen in other countries. If you look at Ethiopia or you look at Malawi, you'd find that there was liberalization of the political environment where political parties could have rallies and then canvass for support, to their constituencies. That situation is not there in South Africa.
All right.
Well, thank you very much, Terry Selani, Executive Chairman of the Institute of Electoral Management Services in Africa, for joining us this morning on Breakfast Central, all about navigating elections and COVID-19. Thank you once again, sir.
Thank you very much.
All right, more top stories right here on Breakfast Central. Now, coming back to Nigeria, West Africa, where the lead counsel of Yoruba Nation, separatist leader Sunday Adeyemo, popularly known as Sunday Igboho, with the likes of Yomi Alliyu, has said that the arrested rights activist cannot be extradited from Benin Republic because he is a political offender. Now, in a statement on Tuesday, Alliyu explained that the 1984 treaty and the African Charter will prevent the government of the Republic of Benin from giving Igboho to Nigeria.
Now, recall that we have brought you a report just yesterday that Igboho was arrested in Benin Republic while attempting to leave the country for Germany. Recall also that Igboho was earlier declared wanted by the Department of State Services after he escaped during a raid of his residence on the 1st of July 2021. Well, we are now joined by Gode Ofose, current affairs analyst, and we also have Barrister Chukwujeku Chukwudi, who is also a constitutional lawyer and a political analyst. Good morning, Barrister Chukwudi.
Good morning to you, and thank you for having me.
Good morning, Barrister Chukwudi. Let's begin by getting your thoughts on the arrest of Sunday Igboho. We're outside the shores of Nigeria, first of all.
Yes, like I always mention, has extended their powers against persons whom they have perceived to have committed offense one way or the other against the Nigerian laws. And that was why the arrest of Sunday Igboho was effected at Cotonou. So we are saying not that the arrest itself may be lawful, but there are processes which must be followed in order to ensure that he is extradited within the country. So it is not like ordinary arrest where you can just arrest and bundle the person within the country. There are certain laws which must be respected, certain procedures which must be adhered strictly to, in order to ensure that such a person is safely brought within the Nigerian community by virtue of such a commission of offense or perceived commission of offense.
Right, Barrister Chukwudi, I mean, looking at this scenario around Sunday Igboho, a lot of people, even Nigerians in diaspora, have been clamoring for his immediate release. As we speak, in Downing Street, central London, a protest has been scheduled to happen today and later on in the day. What do you think about this protest and people clamoring for him to be released? Do they have valid reasons?
You see, it depends on the essence of his arrest and why he was arrested. The Nigerian major people in the south, which are the Yorubas, are saying that the arrest of Sunday Igboho was targeted because of his political positions or opinions which he has held against the continued oppression of the government of Nigeria against certain persons who have taken certain opinions. And that, again, is against the fundamental rights of certain persons. Because under our own law as Nigerians, for precisely Section 39 of 1990.
Right, Paris.
Constitution grants every individual right to, can you hear me?
Yes.
Right, please go ahead.
That particular power to make and to hold an opinion. That Section 39 of 1999 Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria, I believe, is what entitles every Nigerian to make and hold opinion. Now, people are saying that Sunday Igboho has not committed any offense for holding an opinion, political opinion, howsoever be it. And as such, any arrest is targeted politically in order to tarnish his continued holding of that political opinion. So the clamoring for his release is indeed trying to champion that particular arrest is illegal, and it is targeted in order to oppress him or suppress him from further holding political opinions against the existing government of Nigeria. And they may be right, because the Constitution has allowed for such opinions to be held. And also within the developed countries, such as the places where they are currently holding the state rally and protest, such political opinions, it's not illegal. It is not in any way contrary to the existing rights and fundamental rights of every human being within the country. So that's our position. But we are now saying, however he is arrested, that particular law which allows a fundamental process to be adhered strictly to must be followed before he is extradited into the country. And if such opinion is not, if such law is not adhered to, bringing him into the country otherwise than the process laid down by the law will amount to illegality at the same time.
All right. All right, Barrister Chikere, do stay with us. We're still live with you, but we've also got Godi of us, who's a publisher and also a political analyst this morning on Breakfast. So, Godi, welcome back. Good morning to you. Let's come to you now. Where are we now with these extradition talks for Sunday Igboho?
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Again, I think, like the barrister said, it's becoming a back and forth issue. This morning I woke up to read that Sunday Igboho was he wept. He was chained. Some reports that are not very pleasant to the ear. Again, I don't know on what law is Sunday Igboho was picked up by the Interpol, whether he's a political prisoner or he's a terrorist or whatever he must have done, but I feel that he was arrested in someone's in some other's land, so it may not be very easy to bring him back. So all the necessary papers and all the necessary documents needs to be filed. If you have listened to his lawyer or read from his lawyer, you would have understood that there is going to be a lot of international diplomacy in his extradition, as it were. And again, I just also read that he was with a Beninois passport. So he has a lot of coloration here. So I simply would not. Maybe I will leave it to the lawyers to actually try to provide some leeways and how this thing works in their own area. But I believe that, I sincerely believe that it's not going to be an easy task for Nigeria. We might also, in a way, damage the relationship Nigerians have with the Beninois in a way.
Right, Godi. Now, looking at this scenario, people have come out to give certain reasons why he might be wanted by the governors, by the government of Nigeria, aside from him having rallies in some of the West states in Ondo or Ekiti. In the past, he had also come out to give his own opinion on removing Fulanis in the southwest states. Now, this was an action that was condemned totally by the federal and the state authorities. But let's talk about the treaty that the activist lawyer Yomi Alliyu cited. That's the 1984 treaty as a backing for his client not to be extradited back to Nigeria. Can you just walk us through the specifics of that treaty and its stance in cases just like this?
Well, again, okay.
All right, Barrister, you can go on with that. You can go on. The treaty
what
and this.
I wanted to say, this is my own considered opinion.
Okay.
Is there is an existing law which is a treaty which is executed by Nigeria and other countries. You see, extradition processes is governed by the existence of treaties which is an agreement between Nigeria and other African countries or other countries other than African countries, and also governed by municipal law applicable in Nigeria. Now we have Extradition Act, which he has mentioned. By virtue of Section 3 of that particular Extradition Act, no fugitive, no person who has run outside Nigeria can be returned into Nigeria when that particular offense or the reason for his arrest is targeted for political reasons, for military reasons, for reasons which cannot be justified or reasons which are indeed intended to suppress him from holding an opinion. These are the provisions of this law. And we know that currently, before his arrest, it is rumored that Sunday Igboho and his lawyer had already filed an application before the court in that particular community in order to ensure his continued stay. As that law, that particular process was indeed preempting the actions of the federal government of Nigeria. In order to ensure that, assuming he is arrested, that particular process, which is already before the competent court of jurisdiction in that country, must be fully heard and determined. This also calls to consideration. Now, if we have looked at it to sensu, we will know that because of what we have just said, there is no offense, there is no place in law, there is no court in Nigeria upon which Sunday Igboho is currently facing any charge of criminal offense.
All right. Thank you very much, Barrister Chukwudi. Thank you very much, Barrister Chukwudi, constitutional lawyer and political analyst, for coming on Breakfast Central. We are so delighted to have you. Thank you very much once again for coming on the program. Just before we go, Godi, first said, before we let you go quickly, now that he's in Cotonou, we are talking about extradition. Do you think it's going to be straightforward with the Benin just handing back to Nigeria, or you think we'll just have to bite and chew before we get Sunday Igboho back? Speaking like a government official now.
Get him back. If actually we're going to get him back, the other countries are beginning to get involved. I read yesterday that there are lawyers from UK, Germany, and the US who are involved in this matter. I don't think it's going to be a straightforward issue for Nigeria to get him back from Benin Republic. Benin may be just as close as any country to Nigeria, but it's a sovereign state. So at this point, there's going to be some procedures that will be followed before Sunday Igboho is brought back to Nigeria. And I don't think Sunday Igboho should be afraid. The case against him, the one that is even the one that looks even a bit dicey is the stockpiling of arms. He hasn't committed any offense. And a gentleman talked about when he was asking the Fulani herdsmen to leave the land. You also testify to the fact that the entire Yoruba people were behind him when that declaration was made because of the atrocities, alleged atrocities committed by these people. And the government at the center didn't actually show any concern in terms of solving the problem. So perhaps I feel that this is another watershed case in our history to see if people actually have the right to speak up or actually have the right for self-determination.
All right. Thank you very much, Godi Ofosu, for coming once again on Breakfast Central. We'll continue to follow the story. And yes, the Sunday Igboho situation, Nigeria and Cotonou. Easy or not easy?
All right. Welcome back to Breakfast Central, live from the New Central studio. And right now we're going straight to the African Report, where we have Lala on standby, ready for us now. Right. Okay. While we're waiting for Lala, it might be a little bit the network, because I mean nowadays the rains seem to be interfering a whole lot with the network situation in Nigeria and other parts of Africa as well. But we will be getting that report later on the program. All
right. So which means it's time for COVID updates, and yes, on Breakfast Central. Right, let's talk about COVID-19. The spike across Africa with the cases seem not to be dropping anytime soon as the Delta variant spreads all across the region. Now, our correspondent Israel Eferobo is here to tell us more as regards to the Delta variant and the African continent. Israel, good morning. Where do we stand right now?
Yes, indeed. Not in a very good place, Elisa. But good news from some parts of the continent, as let's let you know that Uganda is set to receive at least 12.3 million COVID-19 vaccines by early 2022. The country's health ministry spokesperson Emmanuel Ainebuna said the vaccines will be imported in a phased plan. He added that the ministry expects to receive over 286,000 doses of the AstraZeneca in the last week of July, as well as 300,000 doses of the Sinovac donated by China in the same period. Meanwhile, another 688,000 doses of the AstraZeneca are expected in August. Uganda has so far vaccinated over 1 million people since the exercise started in March of this year. Going north of the continent now, military planes from Kuwait and Jordan loaded with medical supplies for combating the COVID-19 pandemic yesterday arrived in the Tunis Carthage International Airport. According to a statement from the presidency, the plane brought to Tunisia 20 tons of oxygen and 400 cylinders, which the country urgently needs. Tunisia is currently going through a new, more dangerous wave of the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic, with an average of more than 500 cases detected per 100,000 persons in about half of the country's 24 provinces. Tunisian Health Ministry on Monday reported over 2,000 new COVID-19 cases, raising the tally in the country to over 548,000, while the death toll from the virus now stands at over 17 million. Well, that's about to the two places on the continent where we're focusing on today. But it's indeed wanted to note that the World Health Organization's the Director General Tedros Ghebreyesus is indeed concerned that some countries, despite having vaccinated the population with 2 doses, are asking for a third. Meanwhile, some other countries are yet to even achieve such a feat. It's trying to let the world know that if some places on the continent and indeed around the world are still battling with the pandemic, then no one actually is safe, even if you have taken the 2 doses of any of the vaccines to combat the virus. Alliyu.
All right, thank you very much, Israel. We'll continue to follow the latest when it comes to vaccinations around the continent of Africa. But as always, Israel, always on point.
Many thanks, Dan.
All right, you're still on Breakfast Central on News Central TV. Now remember, you can follow us on all socials. We are at News Central TV on all social media platforms. We can also check out our website, that is www.newscentraltv.africa.
Well, coming up next on the program.
All about community reports.
And yes, the Greek freak, well, who's got Nigerian blood? Milwaukee Bucks win NBA title, and more COVID-19 updates later on.
Right, it is still a public holiday in this part of the world. It's a Muslim public holiday. And we have joining us live for African Report, our Zimbabwean correspondent, Lala. Welcome to Breakfast Central, Lala. What's the latest update from Zimbabwe?
Good morning, Olisa and Oluchi.
Morning, Lala.
Well, the latest update from Zimbabwe is about elections and voting, since Zimbabwe is preparing for the 2023 general elections. And the latest statement, or the latest concern, comes from the ZANU-PF United States branch secretary for administration, called Simba Mujuru. He has called Zimbabweans living in the diaspora to come home and register to vote in their respective constituencies. He says voting for diasporans to vote in the diaspora is going to be so costly for the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission, ZEC, as well as parties like ZANU-PF. As you know, most of ZANU-PF leadership are under sanctions and they cannot travel to the Western world. So basically his argument is that the ground won't be level if they are to vote in the diaspora. If the diasporans are to vote in the diaspora, they won't be able, ZANU-PF won't be able to go and campaign there since they are not allowed to travel.
Well, Lala, that's quite a heavy ask, because ZANU-PF traveling to different parts of the world to campaign to diaspora. But I really wonder, how will this voting of the diaspora really work? Because for them to come down to Zimbabwe, to fly down to Harare just to cast the ballot, it's also quite costly and a bit logistically complicated.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And the people in the diaspora are saying they are not coming. They won't come. Because to them, I mean, taking into account the issue of the pandemic at the moment, we don't know how long COVID-19 will go. Yes, the elections may be in 2023, but we don't know if this whole struggle with the COVID-19 will be over, or we'll still be in the same struggle with the pandemic, as well as, like what you said, like what you rightfully pointed out, Olisa, it's going to be costly for the individual to travel all the way from the United States just to come and cast the ballot, the ballot paper in Zimbabwe. But what is even more interesting, the opposition is saying the ground has never been level in Zimbabwe at home. ZANU-PF has always had the upper hand, and they've always campaigned freely, while its opposition parties haven't. So now they're saying, well, let's tit for tat. Let us go campaign overseas, and you guys campaign at home.
Lala, I mean, this brings to question, whatever happened to online voting? Whatever happened to casting your vote online, remotely, irrespective of where you are? Because that means you're putting into consideration everybody in diaspora.
Well, the argument is that the country cannot afford such technological advances that the Western world or the first world can afford. The issue is the country is not yet at that advanced stage. So there is not even a talk of online voting. The talk that is there is diasporans going physically to cast their votes wherever they are in the locations in the United States or in the UK, which obviously we don't know if that will happen or not, since there's so much talk around it.
All right, Lala, thank you very much for the latest. I can't even imagine going out to campaign, outside the shores of Zimbabwe, but you've given us the latest right there in Zimbabwe. So thank you very much, Lala.
Good day.
All right.
All right, so you're still watching Breakfast Central, and that was the report we got all the way from Zimbabwe. But moving on, we'll be giving you updates as it is happening come 2023 election in Zimbabwe. But we're going to another part of the show. Now, our entertainment plug is ready to bring us all the latest entertainment stories from over the weekend. And who do we have? None other than Sam Dandy. Good morning, Sam.
Hi, good morning. How are you guys doing?
Awesome.
Quite well,
so let
Sam.
me give you all the details, right? So for the first time in history, two Ghanaians have been nominated for the Emmy Awards happening this year. Now, of course, that's great news, right? And of course, this is the first time this is happening. There are actually two UK-based Ghanaian creatives, and they've been recognized and nominated for this year. In fact, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what they're nominated for. But of course, this year happens to be the 73rd Primetime Emmy Awards, right? And of course, Emmy Awards are known for recognizing excellence in American primetime television programming. Now, of course, UK-born Ghanaian actors Papa Isedu and Ewuraba Michaela Cole have been nominated for their roles in the television series I May Destroy You. Now, of course, this is a fearless and provocative drama exploring the question of sexual consent in our contemporary life. Now, the actor Isedu is nominated in the Outstanding Supporting Actor category, while Miss Cole is nominated as a lead actress, Best Director, and Best Writer. Now, in fact, despite not bagging a single Golden Globe Awards this year, the series have gotten 9 nominations this year at the Emmys, including the Most Wanted Best Limited Series Award. Now, of course, for those who don't know, the 73rd Primetime Awards is set to happen in September on the 19th and will be hosted by Cedric the Entertainer in Los Angeles, United States. Well, of course, I have a little trailer of that. Let me just take a little trailer from the I May Destroy You series.
You think I'm crazy for having Insta and Twitter wars with rapists and life destroyers every day? You can relax. I have the all clear. Yay! Back in the room. Sorry.
Hey, I know your work. I've read your posts. Sorry, you must be busy.
I am never too busy to talk about things.
Bang, bang.
I love you too. I mean, it trickles down, doesn't it?
We need social media. These networks promote speaking at the cost of listening.
I have to speak. Kwame, if you paint things to make it look like you're a victim and I find out that isn't the case, it makes me question who you are.
All right, it's definitely one of those woke series, if you ask me. Well, still on some international recognition, the Nigerian feature film MILWAUKEE has been selected alongside other films from Tunisia, Morocco, Central African Republic, and Mozambique to participate in the final cut at the 78th Venice Film Festival. Now, this is the first time for a Nigerian film, and the MILWAUKEE producer Oge Abasi and director CJ Obasi will be joining 5 other projects from September 4th to the 7th this year. Now, this is the 9th edition of the project, and the project is dedicated to provide concrete assistance in the completion of film from Africa and from other parts of the world, and to offer producers and directors an opportunity to present these films to the production phase with international producers, professionals, and distributors. Now, this is a huge win for the film. I know that this film has been in the works since 2016. Well, finally, to some rather controversial news, if I might call it that. Of course, Tanzanian sensational singer VANESSA MDEE has spoken up about claims that she has had a baby. Now, she debunked the claims, saying they are unfounded claims and people should stop spreading them because they were freaking out her mother. That got a lot of fans. Quite all right, celebrities have been secretive lately, you know, with a lot happening in their lives. But Ms. MDEE's statement comes at a time when Tanzanians were showering her with congratulatory messages on social media over the unfounded rumors. Now, this is the first time it's happening to her particularly. People have been sparking, you know, various baby news since her engagement to Nigerian-American singer and actor. We know him and we love him, Rotimi, and that was in December last year. Now, to be honest, it's safe to say that maybe fans are just super excited and can't wait for the couple to have a child together. But if there's even any plans at all for it. But of course, you can see them a lot in their music videos. I saw this music video with Rotimi, and you know, she was there and they look cute together. You can watch this. They're the cutest, I can't even lie. I mean, Nigeria and Tanzania.
This makes me have butterflies in my tummy for that.
Oh, look at you.
So she's debunked the baby rumors, which means people are alluding to Rotimi as perhaps the father. You know,
I know, of course, they better. I mean, no other person, please.
All right, thank you so much, Sam Danny, for the entertainment update. Always. Okay, so moving on from that sizzling entertainment stories, we have another. When you have different people on social media. Some people come and say this, some come and say that. But let's find out who said what.
I'm also a Nigerian. I live in Vienna. I seek asylum here in Vienna, and I'm living here for over so many years. And you people are representing a terrorist organization, a terrorist government. You Nigerian, you should be very ashamed of yourselves. Every one of you here should be very, very ashamed of yourself. I will speak to you. This can't happen in another European country that their youth are representing a government. Stay quiet. A football team should know that we are suffering the youth of Nigeria. Over 10 million Nigerian youth are abroad doing nothing. And you people who are supposed to know the truth are representing a terrorist organization called Buhari, kidnapping his citizens, killing youth. Excuse me, stay quiet, Mr. Man. I'm speaking, I'm not causing any problem. Do you understand? Yeah, I am speaking to these youths who have refused to recognize. No, I will. If you touch me, I will call the police on you. If you touch me, I will call the police on you. This is not Nigeria. This is not Nigeria.
Wow. That escalated quickly. So that was the Super Falcons team, Nigeria, traveling across Austria, Vienna in a train, and it was quite a public train, a big one. You can see members of the team in the shot, and it was a video posted by another Nigerian. I'm not getting the name now. Another Nigerian who took it upon himself somehow to criticize the team for representing Nigeria. I'm wondering, and he said he's a Nigerian himself, based in Austria, Vienna, but
And you're saying that those women, those are the female Super Falcons, are actually representing some bad governance, as it were. Those are Nigerians who are doing Nigeria proud. If you feel you think you need to come out and do something right, then come to Nigeria. Don't do it from afar. Yeah. Come to Nigeria and inflict the changes that you were talking about.
Not necessarily, because that team is just representing the country, doing the continent to play sports. So there's a lot of debate going on social media that perhaps you should have, said, "Oh, go Nigeria, well done," and unfortunately, we know what's going on in Nigeria. Things are bad, but well done for representing the country. But then it looks like it escalated into something else. You're looking at the video. He was filming himself and he was commenting. There was no anything about praise about the team or you're playing well or good luck. It was all about criticisms and talking about how the Nigerian youth should be speaking up about the government. I don't think it's necessarily the team's place to do so.
Not at all, Olisa. I mean, listen to what he said. He came out and said, you're representing Buhari's government. I mean, what her young sports women got to do with representing the government? They're representing over Nigeria. 2 million Nigerians who are so proud of what they do.
These days, the things we see on social media, that was who said what. But we still got more, this time community reports with our correspondent Michael in Ghana. And I hope Michael is not taking us back to Austria, Vienna, Mike.
Hi guys, I'm not taking you back to Austria, Vienna, but that was really, I don't know how to describe that video. But well, let me just let you know some things happening. Let's now come back to Africa, Ghana precisely, where some unemployed youths in Bosonu in the Savannah region of Ghana have come out to call out their representative, saying that he's not doing what he promised them. Now, take a look at this video. Okay, so these are guys that actually complaining that the member of parliament representing them, that is Samuel Abu Jinapo, have actually gone back on what he promised them. And of course, this video came out and of course, it's gone viral. The youth could be seen, returning the bags of rice which Samuel Abu Jinapo sends to the community as a gift, but they clamored for jobs and not rice. Now, according to reports, members of the Samuel Jinapo had promised them jobs during, the elections that happened back in 2020. However, 7 months after, the youths are still without a job. Now, let me just run you quickly who Samuel Abu Jinapo is. He's actually a lawyer by profession, and he was actually elected into parliament for the first time in 2020. And before then, he served as the chief of staff to the president of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo. Now, you might be wondering, someone this enlightened, not, probably doing what he promised to do. And of course, now the youth in his region are saying that, hey, you need to make your promises and of course fulfill them. But now, Olisa and Oluchi, let's bring this back home to Nigeria. Of course, we can relate to this kind of story, and of course, we've seen stuff like this before now. Now, is this something you see Nigerian youths this path? Do you see Nigerian youths taking this path in terms of returning some of Nigerians, they call it stomach infrastructure? Right. You see Nigerian youths towing the path of the Ghanaian youths in this kind of situation, returning those bags of rice? I
mean, Michael, it has to start someday. I mean, this is a typical scenario of do not give me the fish. Instead, show me how to fish.
Exactly.
Right. So we're looking forward to a time in Nigeria where our youth and anybody who is interested in stomach infrastructure will begin to reject it and say, no, let's do the right thing by casting our votes and putting the right people who would serve Nigeria in government.
Well, I wonder what cue perhaps other African youths might get from this, because it's quite bizarre to see, a representative from parliament coming to share, the hand-me-downs, the bag of rice, the palliative, or as we call it here.
I said hand-me-downs, like seriously.
Yeah, and you have people returning them. It's quite bizarre. I'm quite surprised that really.
But Olisa, it's bound to happen. Yeah. Someday it will get to this point in Nigeria, and I hope to be alive. Yes, I'm quite hopeful.
Well, let's just keep our fingers crossed, guys, and let's not give up on Nigeria. And we hope that very soon, or sometime in the future,
not just Nigeria, elsewhere,
we'll go this path. All right, now let's move back to Nigeria here, and of course, the heavy downpour in some parts of Lagos on Friday, really left an indelible mark. And of course, so many Lagosians are still trying to recover from the impact of that incident. And of course, even here in the studio, here in the office, someone like Johansson can actually relate to this. But it's not just about the rain and the flooding. Something really big happened in the Ikeja axis. And of course, this video will tell you more.
You are late. Yes. Wahala for Ikeja. My Ikeja we dey so. Train come up for train lane. No, that's fine. They won't keep people. They won't keep people. Train come up for train lane. Thank God for life. God for life. We will waste many people here. How will we pass go the other side?
Well, thank God for life, but I think government needs to do what they need to do. Now, let me just let you know that that rail track is, of course, the Lagos-Abeokuta rail track that was commissioned back in 2017 by Vice President Yemi Alliyu. And of course, billions of dollars was spent on that. And now you saw that video, the train skidding off its track and of course, endangering the lives of many. Some may ask, does this actually speak well of the President Muhammadu Buhari-led administration? And of course, the Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi. Just last week, we spoke with our correspondent, Amadine Uyi, where he monitored the commissioning of the rail track in Kaduna. That is the Kanu-Kaduna rail track. And of course, some people will be asking, is this something we'll keep on seeing with this whole move, to bring back railway, transportation in Nigeria? These are some of the questions we are asking. And thank God no lives was lost in that incident that happened in Ikeja. But that is some of the community reports I was able to track for you. And definitely, subsequently, more reports will be coming right here on Breakfast Central.
All right. Thank you, Michael. That was quite a sad one, the derailment of that train on a track. I really hope that no lives was lost, because it's a serious issue.
It's a very serious one.
Train derailment. All right, just before we go, updates for in the world of sports. Well, congratulations to Greek-Nigerian Giannis Antetokounmpo as he led the Milwaukee Bucks to their first NBA title in 50 years. He also won the MVP award. Yes, 50 points and 14 rebounds for this man, who clearly has Nigerian parents, was doing so well at Milwaukee Bucks, who got drafted, and at the age of 26, he's won his first NBA title. Not a bad one for Giannis. And we say congratulations to him and the Milwaukee Bucks, but there will be lots to come much later in the world of sports.
All right, that's all we have for you today, the 21st day in the month of July 2021. We have gradually come to the end of the program for today, and we will be here again tomorrow. But of course, we need to let you know that we will be hanging out with Olisa. You can join us virtually. Today is still his birthday, and we're saying congratulations and happy birthday.
All right, later today on the on News Central is what you can catch. In the game at 10:30 for sports.
And 5:30 p.m. West African time, we have East Central.
And at 7 p.m., we gather up for Village Square Africa. Right, we have to go. Birthday celebrations for me. Yes, I know. Happy Eid, by the way.
It's still a public holiday, yes.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I'm still under the weather, the flu and the cold, so I may be staying away from my alki.
Item 7, you mean? But we'll be here again tomorrow, 8 a.m. West African time. Do you have yourself a very lovely and enjoyable holiday.
Bye-bye.